Okay, so let's talk about how to edit your background image, whatever you took a picture of for your graffiti piece, if it was a building or a bridge or a tunnel or whatever it might have been. So you're going to open this file up in Photoshop and make sure that you're happy with the composition, with the colors, with the exposure, and cleaning up any blemishes or distracting elements. So this image, as it stands, there's this person here. That might be kind of cool to leave. It might not be. Um, Maybe I want to focus here as where I'm going to add my graffiti. So then maybe I don't need all this space to the right of it. So I might want to crop my image and change it. So these are things that you kind of have to think about. And you can always crop it later too. You don't have to crop right now, but um, maybe for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this person here, because maybe I don't even like the sidewalk. And just go like this, you know. Okay. At this point too, we can go to our adjustment layers, adjust levels. Maybe I want to bring in some of the darker values. Okay. Maybe go to hue and saturation. I can increase the saturation, make some of my colors. That's a little crazy. But you know, or maybe I want a black and white image. I wouldn't do black and white this way. I'll show you another way to do black and white, but you know, maybe you want to increase the saturation and just have your colors pop a little bit. So now, you know, you can see a little bit more blue in the sky, a little bit brighter green in the grass. Gives it a little bit more life. Okay, so when you're happy with that, what you can do is go back to your background layer. I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate that by hitting Command J on my keyboard. That way, if I do anything to this layer that I don't like, I still have the original layer there. So maybe, just for demonstration purposes, I think that these, whatever these things are here, lights, I don't know what they are, they're distracting. I want to get rid of them. So a couple of different ways you can do that. There is the clone stamp, so where you can actually pick up, ignore that, that's from the last time I used a clone stamp, by clicking the Alt or the Option key on your keyboard, and I can pick up the texture and the color here, and then stamp it on, and then boom, those are covered. But that didn't work out so hot because I can actually see the outline of my stamp. So one way I can fix that is by changing the hardness of the brush edge and soften that up a little bit. And I can pick up color right from here and click Alt again, click up here and stamp it on that way. And that looks pretty good, right? So from out here, don't even see it. So there's those little things gone. Okay. Another way to do that, I'm going to just duplicate the layer again, is under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 tools down, we have the spot healing brush or the patch tool. So the patch tool works very similarly to the clone stamp, where what I can do is circle, make a selection, it's called, of the item I want to get rid of, and then I just kind of drag up to select clean pixels, and it'll automatically blend that for me. So instead of having to do all that stamping, because you're kind of restricted to the brush size, which is usually like a round, you know, sort of thing. Okay, so if I want to get rid of, like there's some litter down here, so if I want to get rid of that, what I can do is click and hold where I originally had patch tool selected, get my spot healing brush, not healing brush, spot healing brush. Okay, and I want to use the bracket key next to my P, either open bracket or close bracket, to make my brush about the size of the blemish, and all I have to do is click on it, and it kind of automatically fills it in with the texture of the grass, which is pretty cool. You can also just draw, and like you see wherever it was that sort of gray line, that's what's going to get repaired. So Photoshop sort of senses the pixels. So something big like this, I might not want to do that. It might make it too blurry, but we can try it. Let's see what that looks like. Not bad. You can also switch back to your patch tool, select the garbage you want to get rid of, and then I can kind of move selection around and almost pick up very similar leaves, and then just kind of plop those down in there. And that repeats the same texture. So if it's a larger area, you might want to do something like that. You know, you want to keep the focus about the same and the exposure. Let's see what else we could do in this image. So just to show you the before and the after, so we got rid of those little doodads and some of the garbage in the foreground. This little white spot here is kind of annoying, so let's get rid of that too. And there we go. And what's great about with the grass, you know, there's so much going on that if you do kind of take some shortcuts there, it won't really matter. You won't really see it. Get rid of that. Okay. So that looks like a pretty good, clean image. You know, brightened it up, increase the contrast a little bit by doing a levels adjustment and a hue and saturation adjustment. So if I'm happy with this image at this point, what I want to do is go File, Save As, and we're going to call this last name background. And make sure you're saving it to your Student Network folder, and make sure that under Format at the bottom here it says Photoshop. If you don't see all of these options, like you might just see this. So if this is all you see, click on this little down arrow, and then you'll get to the other options where you'll see the shared files or the shortcut to your Student Network folder. And again, make sure Format is Photoshop. I can't stress that enough, okay? Format has to be Photoshop, and the file extension should read PSD. And then click Save. So now I have in my folder still, I have the original image that I took, as well as another version of it where I fixed it and made some alterations to that image. Okay, so at this point now, I can go back to my graffiti and add that to this image. So I'm going to leave my layers the way they are for now, and we can flatten all of that out later. It's better to have layers and better to have things saved in separate layers here than to have them all in one, because then you can always go back and make changes. So maybe once you add your graffiti, you're like, oh, you know what? I don't really like the color of this. So now I can go back to the hue and saturation, and I can, you know, really increase it. Maybe that'll look better with my piece. I don't know. Okay, so you can always go back and make changes if you need to. So I think that was about there. Okay. So in the next video, I will show you how to do the selections in your graffiti piece and then get them into your composite image.